Welcome to the Man of Recaps. It's Jessica Jones, Season 1. Meet Jessica Jones. She's a private investigator, and despite being a skinny white chick, she has super strength. Her life is a mess, though, because she's an insomniac and an alcoholic, because she's having PTSD flashbacks to her traumatic past. This is her hobby. She likes to go out at night and spy on Luke Cage, and just watch him have sex with chicks. Everyone needs a hobby. Luke Cage owns a bar, and one night Jessica steps in, and they end up getting it on. Jessica feels really bad, though, because Luke has this dead wife that Jessica maybe knows something about. Ooh, a mystery. One day, a nice Midwestern couple comes in, and they're like, "Oh, help us, we've lost our daughter." Jessica talks to her friends. It's like, yeah, she started dating that new guy, and we never see her anymore. She checks out a restaurant they apparently went to, and the maitre d's like, yeah, that was super weird. The guy came in, he ordered us all around, and everyone just did whatever he said. And Jessica's like, oh my god, this was the restaurant I went to with my guy from my traumatic past. No way. She goes to the hotel that the guy took her to on their night, and she finds the girl lying in the bed. She's fine, but she can't move because he told her don't move. Jessica has to forcibly carry her out of there, and she's fighting the whole way. Finally, she makes it back to her apartment, and the girl seems okay. She's reunited with her parents, and she's like, wow, thanks, you saved my life. But then, in the elevator, she pulls out a gun, and she shoots her parents. What? No! Oh, the guy told her to do it. How traumatic is that? Jessica visits the lawyer she often works with. It's Jerry Hogarth. She's like, you gotta take Hope's case. She's innocent. She was mind-controlled by a guy named Kilgrave. Jerry's like, that sounds crazy, but if you can prove it, that'd be an interesting case. The last time Jessica saw Kilgrave was the night of a bus crash. He got hit by a bus, and Jessica assumed he was dead, so she sneaks into the hospital to check the records, but there's no record of him at all, only the other girl that got hit by a bus, Reva Connors, which is Luke Cage's dead wife. The plot thickens. She tracks down the ambulance driver from that night and finds that he is on permanent dialysis because Kilgrave made him donate both his kidneys to him. What? She finds a former surgeon who Kilgrave made do the surgery, obviously. He reveals Kilgrave was conscious during the surgery. He didn't want anesthesia because it might disrupt his powers. Jessica's like, look, you're coming with me, you're going to testify for all this, and that's enough for Hogarth to be like, all right, I'm going to take this case and see what's up. Now we get an awesome scene where we see Kilgrave's powers in action. This guy's like, who are you? He's like, I'm your new house guest, let me in. Oh, of course, come right in. He's like, all right, cook me dinner, please. His wife's like, yeah, of course, I'll cook anything you want. Kids, go hide in the closet because I don't like kids, and don't come out even to pee. Yeah, so Kilgrave is kind of terrifying. Luke Cage breaks up with a girl he's been seeing because he found from Jessica's photos that she's married. So her husband comes with his friends to beat him up, but boom, Luke can take care of himself. He is unbreakable skin. He's super strong. Jessica's there too to help, and she's super strong too. So these two realize they both have superpowers and do the obvious thing, have incredible superpower sex, breaks the bed. Sweet Christmas. That's what Luke says. Jessica visits this doctor who is Jerry Hogarth's wife, but they're divorcing because Jerry's been sleeping with her secretary. It's complicated, but anyway, Jessica's like, hey, can you give me some anesthesia? And she's like, what? No, that's a ridiculous request. Now, Jessica has this drug addict neighbor named Malcolm. He's harmless though. They're sort of friends. He wanders into her apartment sometimes to steal her peanut butter. Anyway, she takes him to the hospital to cause a distraction so she can sneak in back and get the anesthesia for defense against Kilgrave. Now, they get Hope an interview on a popular radio show, Trish Talk. Trish happens to be Jessica's best friend, and she knows about Kilgrave, so she's really mad. She starts, like, insulting him right over the air. Jessica's like, no, it's gonna make him pissed, and he does call in. Luckily, his power doesn't work over the radio, but he does basically threaten Trish's life. So a cop comes by. He's like, hey, I'm here to protect you. But when she lets him in, no, he's been Kilgrave's. He's attacked her. Luckily, Jessica arrives just in time to save her, but no, Trish is dead, and the cop leaves because he accomplished his mission. But no, Trish is alive. Just used the anesthesia to Romeo and Juliet him. So she follows the cop to where Kilgrave's been staying, and she's getting ready to ambush him, but he's like, cop, go jump off the roof, and she's like, oh no, I have to stop him from doing that. And then we finally see Kilgrave's face, and oh snap, it's Doctor Who. What up? Kilgrave escapes while she has to fight off all the inhabitants of the apartment, but she does find his creepy stalker room where he's got all these photos of her, and she's like, man, who does Kilgrave have following me? Trish apologizes to Kilgrave on air, which is all he wanted, so he calls off the death threat, but the cop does show back up. He's like, I thought I killed you. She's like, yeah, you almost did. He's like, I want to help stop this Kilgrave guy, just because, like, look, can you get me police recordings to see who's following me? The cop continues to visit Trish, though, and they start flirting through her intercom, and despite him having tried to kill her only days before, they end up hooking up. You just never know where you're going to meet someone, right? So the cop gets Jessica the cam footage, and she finds out that it's her junkie friend Malcolm who's been following her. Turns out he wasn't always a junkie. He was a nice lad. But Kilgrave, besides just mind controlling him, he also got him hooked on drugs to keep him more under control. So they make the plan to capture Kilgrave. Cop was actually in the Spec Ops back in the day, and he's got like a secret soundproof room nearby in a warehouse. So one day they follow Malcolm to the meeting place, and then cop comes by with the trank gun, and boom, trank, anesthesia to the neck. They take him out of there in the van, but Kilgrave has personal security, of course, and they come and they tase him down, and they manage to take Kilgrave back. Hope got beat up in prison one day, so Jessica accosts the lady responsible, but she's like, no, man, Hope paid me to beat her up. It's like, what? Why would you do that? She's like, I'm pregnant with Kilgrave's baby. It's like, oh, honey, here, there's pills for that. Just take one. But Hogarth is like, hey, let me keep that fetus to study it and stuff. Scandalous. Then Luke Cage shows up with a side quest. He's got a friend whose little brother's gone missing or something. Turns out he's out here. He's just been growing pot, and they rescue him, but like some gangsters are after him because he owes them money, so they have to beat him up, and he gets it back to his sister. But thing was, she had information about the night of the bus accident that killed his old wife Reba, which is awkward because Jessica knows that she was there with Kilgrave and her. They were after this USB drive that she had, and then it was Jessica who killed Reba. Kilgrave made her punch her to death. Oh, but luckily it doesn't say that here. It just says that the bus driver was drunk. So Luke Cage goes after the bus driver. He's like, you killed my wife, throws her out the window, and she's like, no, Luke, it was me. I killed your wife. I was mind controlled by Kilgrave. And he's like, wow. You killed my wife and then you slept with me? That's pretty messed up, dude. Kilgrave is out in the suburbs buying some real estate. He's like, I'm not going to use my powers to buy this house. I'm just going to offer you a buttload of money. Turns out having a buttload of money is a superpower of its own. So he gets the house. Turns out it's Jessica Jones's old house. Oh, what a creeper. Now, Jessica has these other neighbors that are these two weird twins. One day she pushes the sister around, which makes the brother sort of fall in love with her. He stops by to give her banana bread, and one day he does, and Kilgrave's there instead. So when Jessica comes home, oh, he's killed himself. He's all cut up. No! Malcolm's there too, by the way. Jessica helped him get clean of drugs and of Kilgrave. So she's like, look, I have this idea. I'm going to take credit for this murder and get myself put in a supermax prison, so when Kilgrave comes for me, they'll have the cameras with proof of him using his power. Malcolm's like, that's a dumb idea. I'm not going to let you go to jail for this. So he actually gets rid of the body for her and cleans it all up. But she's like, look, I'm very committed to this idea. So she jumps in and takes his head off and dumps it on the desk. She's like, I'm a psycho. Lock me up. But instead they're like, hey, Jessica, you're free to go. What's going on in the station? Everyone's got guns to each other. Yes, it's Kilgrave. So these two finally talk. She's like, what, you want revenge on me for throwing you under the bus, literally? And he's like, no revenge. In fact, I promise never to use my powers on you again because, Jessica, I love you. Eesh. Look, I want you to come live with me until you naturally fall in love with me of your own free will, Beauty and the Beast style. And she's like, you know that I was your mind control slave for like 6 months, and I hate you more than anyone else in the world. And he's like, yeah, well, it might take some time. So Kilgrave erases the cameras, and he's like, look, everyone, in 30 seconds, you're going to forget me, and remember that this whole gun to the heads thing was a hilarious joke. So after he leaves, they do. They're like, what pranksters we are. So Jessica meets Kilgrave at her childhood home. She figures that as long as she's here distracting him, no one else will get hurt. And he's done the whole thing up exactly like it was when she was a kid, including the family photos of her family that died in a tragic car accident when she was young. So Beauty and the Beast style, he's like, hey, I invite you to dine with me this evening. She's like, hell no. But then she's like, well, if there's wine, I may as well stop by. But upstairs, it's the cop. He's been tracking Kilgrave. He's like, look, you're mind controlled. I'm here to rescue you and kill him. She's like, no, I'm not mind controlled, and I need him alive to prove Hope's innocence. He's like, well, there's a bomb in the basement then, so you better stop that. So she spends a day living in suburban bliss with Kilgrave, and we get his backstory. That's what was on the thumb drive he killed Reva for, was the videos of him as a kid, and his parents were mad scientists that were doing experiments on him. That's how he got his power, and you almost feel bad for him because you realize his power was such a curse, and as a kid being abandoned growing up, you might turn out bad too. On the news, an unrelated incident, Jessica has the idea to help make Kilgrave a hero, so they go in there and use his powers to stop the guy and have him let his family free, and they're like, oh, thank you. He's like, oh, that feels good. Now shoot yourself in the head. And she's like, no shooting people. And he's like, oh, fine. Kilgrave's like, I love this. We'll be that superhero couple, and I'm always like trying to be bad, and you're trying to guide me to the good side, and that way I won't hurt any other people while you're with me. And she's like, I gotta think about this. While she's gone, he tells his servants, don't blink till she returns, which is so casually cruel, it's insane. Luckily, she comes back pretty soon, and she's like, hey, I brought Chinese food. I've decided to do your plan. It'll be nice, and I'll stop you from hurting other people. He's like, okay, I like the sound of this. She's like, just kidding. I'm gonna anesthesia you and take you out of here. Kilgrave's security stops her, but he gets taken out by the cop and his team of ex-Special Forces friends. They're like, look, we can't let you take him in. He's too dangerous. We're gonna kill him. But she's like, no, I'm gonna jump out of here, because she could jump really far. But then a neighbor comes by. She's like, hey, I have a present for you from Kilgrave. It's the bomb. Oh no, boom, exploded. The cop survives. They take him to the hospital, and he gets his own super secret doctor. He's like, Doc, I want back in the program. And he's like, oh, okay. And so then he's fully recovered because Doc's got these like super special magic pills. So Jessica's got Kilgrave in the soundproof room. She was recording him to prove his powers, and she can shock him whenever she wants. And Hogarth's like, this is ridiculously gonna be inadmissible. At least get a cop over here to be a witness. While Jessica does that, Hogarth's dealing with her divorce, which is getting increasingly messy, and now her ex is trying to blackmail her because she had her heart broken so bad. And Kilgrave's like, hey, I have mind control powers. I can make people do whatever I want. And Hogarth's like, interesting. Jessica finds the cop, but he wants nothing to do with the Kilgrave stuff. So she and Trish are working to find Kilgrave's parents. So Jessica tracks him down, and he's like, you monsters, you created Kilgrave. She's like, no, we're nice people. We're trying to save him, and we were trying to help him for years, but it was just too much. It was too dangerous living with him. So Jessica brings them back to Kilgrave, and the cop comes. He's like, I decided to show up, and this is super weird, but it's like, no, hold on. Just wait and watch. We're going to show you his powers are real and stuff. They send in his parents. They work out their anger issues. They end up hugging it out, but then his mom goes to stab him. She's like, sorry, son, you're a monster. He's like, I understand. Now, mom, stab yourself to death. So she starts to, and Jessica hits the button because that's enough, but it doesn't work. The line's been cut. No, so the mom stabs herself to death, and that's definitely some evidence. So Trish goes to shoot him, but she just gets his shoulder, and she's like, Dad, kill yourself too. He tries to do that, and then he runs out. He's like, Trish, put a bullet in your head. So she tries to shoot, but luckily it doesn't go off. And then he's like, officer, you're with me. So he like breaks his wrist to get out of the handcuffs. Then Jessica catches him, and he's like, let go, Jessica. But nothing happens. The power doesn't work on her. The idea is that back when he made her kill the girl at the bus thing, it was so traumatic for her that she broke free of him. The cop gets her off him though, and he goes outside where Hogarth was trying to bail, but he's like, nope, stop, you're giving me a ride, go to the doctor. And the only doctor she thinks of is his ex. It's like, you're gonna fix me up. And so as they're doing, they sort of bond about how Hogarth broke her heart, and she mentions the phrase death by 1,000 cuts. He's like, yo, go ahead, do that to Hogarth, that sounds fun. Trish is still trying to put a bullet in her head, and Jess is like, look, just put it in your mouth, see, it's in your head. Now his dad's like, look, Kilgrave emits a virus, everyone around him, that's how his power works, and I think I can work up a cure. So Trish and him go to do that. Hogarth's getting cut up real bad until boom, her secretary girlfriend caves and saves her by killing her ex, and Jessica shows up. She's like, Kilgrave was here, wasn't he? I guess I just missed him. Blonde cop shows up. He's like, hey, don't worry, I'm with the team. Where is everyone? So this cop tells him, and then he's like, boom, shoots him in the head, because he's on a mission to kill Kilgrave. He's not going to take a prisoner, so he burns the place down, and he's, kind of a bad guy now, I guess. Jessica's back at her apartment, and Kilgrave's there too. He's like, hey, what's up? So she pushes him again. She's like, I could kill you right now. He's like, I told about 100 people to commit suicide if I don't check back in with them, so she has to let him go. He's like, look, here's the thing. I just got the papers for Hope's release. I'm going to let her go. I want to trade her for my father. So Jessica's like, how's the cure going? It's like, we won't know till we test it. It's like, well, test it on yourself right now, because I'm going to trade you for Hope. So Kilgrave's got the support group all noosed up, and he's like, come on here, Dad. And Dad starts walking. Is he faking it? No, the cure didn't work. Bummer. Hope breaks her glass, and Kilgrave's like, you can't hurt me. And she's like, no, but I could stab myself. That way it frees Jessica to kill you without having to prove my innocence. So he tells everyone to jump. Jessica has to save them, and he and his dad are out of there. Afterwards, the cop makes it to Jessica's, but he tries to shoot her. He blames her for Kilgrave escaping before, and he's on his pills, makes him super strong too. So they have a fight, and Trish comes in, boom, to help. She's like, hey, I snagged these pills from his pocket earlier. If I take some, maybe I'll be super strong too. Bam, bam, Trish is fighting, and between the two of them, they knock him out. But later, the doctor and his buddies from the secret group come and pick him up, so we haven't seen the last of him. Jess gets a text that Luke's in danger, so she goes to his bar, and boom, it explodes. Oh, luckily he's indestructible, so he walks out of there, he's fine, and he's just like, damn, I just went full Khaleesi. See, Luke had been tracking Kilgrave too, and he went up to try to kill him, but it's like, stop! And it's like, what? Who are you? So he gets the whole story, and he made him go blow up his bar, because he didn't know he was indestructible. Now, Kilgrave managed to get the aborted fetus that Hogarth kept, and he's trying to make his dad use it to increase his powers. And his dad's like, I'm really tired, by the way. It's like, put your hand in the blender. You feeling tired now? It's like, no, I'm not tired, I'm fine. Jess and Luke find that Kilgrave's been trying to test his stronger powers at these concerts, so they go down to the venue. Turns out he's there right now. She's like, you go away so you don't get controlled. I'm gonna go face him. He's like, Jessica, stop. But no, he can't control her yet. She keeps on walking. He's like, well, plan B. It's Luke Cage. Yeah, my powers last longer now, so I had him under control to attack you at this moment when I said so. And they have a super strong fight where they're breaking through walls, like a lot of wall breaking. And they end up outside by the police car where she gets the shotgun and she's like, sorry about this. Boom! Blasts him right in the face. Luke is out cold, but at the hospital they find Nurse Claire Temple from Daredevil. When the doctor realizes Luke is special, they want to call the cops, but Jess is like, no, I gotta take him out of here. And Claire's like, hey, I've dealt with superheroes before, I'll come with you. I guess this is my life now. But Jess gets a call from Kilgrave. He's in the hospital, so while Claire goes to deal with Luke, Jess goes to find Kilgrave, but he's gone, and he puts Jess's picture up on the thing. He's like, everybody kill her. Wait, his voice can't affect the whole hospital over the intercom. Well, apparently it can. So she has to fight her way out of there. Everyone's attacking her. Jess gets home and finds this going on. Claire's like, don't worry, it's not sexual. He's having a seizure. I need to stick this big needle in through his eye socket and drain the fluid in his brain. I'll tell you what, being a nurse is a superpower of its own. Kilgrave's like, look, I still can't control Jessica. I need more power. Inject that whole fetus directly into my brain. So his dad does that, and he's like, wow, fetus power. just tracks him to the apartment where she finds his dad brutally murdered. I can't even show this one. And then she realizes that the two guys that owned it have a yacht, so she goes to the marina where Kilgrave has an entire squad of police officers, but just lifts her hood, and it's Trish, wearing headphones. That's really smart. You should have been doing this all along, probably. Anyway, the distraction lets Jess super jump over them all, and she's gonna chase down Kilgrave. But outside, Kilgrave's got a whole mob of randos, and he's like, oh, you start killing each other, so Jessica has to try to stop them. Trish gets her headphones knocked off, but then Jessica's like, no, I just need to kill Kilgrave. She makes a beeline for him, and he's like, stop! And everyone stops, including Jessica. Kilgrave's like, I don't believe it, you're faking. And Jessica's like, no, it's for real. He's like, oh, what if I take Trish with me on this yacht? And like, we hang out together and we make kissy time all the time, huh? Would you stop me then? And she's like, no, I can't. Kilgrave's like, yes, this is my dream come true. I can't believe it. And she's like, you shouldn't. I was faking. Ha! She grabs him. And with zero moral dilemma about whether she should kill him or not, she snaps his neck. Oh, man. So Kilgrave is definitely dead. He was a pretty cool villain. There are plenty of witnesses about mind control now, so Jessica's free to go. And she gets a lot of publicity, so her agency phone is ringing off the hook. Malcolm decides to come help work for her. And that's how Jessica Jones Season 1 comes to an end.